Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday, everyone. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Let's get into the channeled messages. I'm starting a little bit later than I wanted. I've had a lot going on and a lot to do, so I might do more later streams like this week. But that's fine. We'll balance it out and get our schedule figured out. So again, I hope you're having a good day. Let's get into channeled messages for today. So first and foremost, the channeled song for today is The Summoning by Sleep Token. I saw the numbers 711, 1717, 911, 2332, 222, 511, 2020, 2021. Yeah, and 2021. Someone here may be feeling under the weather, kind of sick, a little bit achy. You may have seen hawks or owls. Someone here is also really big into Renaissance fairs, as well as Dragon Age. I also got Aquanet for some reason, so someone might use that hairspray, or maybe you're from the 80s when that was a big popular thing. And I had some tech issues before starting today. So someone here may be experiencing some tech issues. So let's see what the collective needs to hear today. I'm going to roll the dice for which astrological house this reading will be in for today. Hi, R. And we have the house of philosophy and higher learning with the number 9. So this will be in the house of philosophy and higher learning. Very interesting, because that's also often the house of spirituality. And the zodiac sign that it's in looks like 3 for Gemini. Thank you so much, R. I'm okay. I'm alright. Still processing, but we'll get there. Okay, so we have the House of Philosophy, Higher Learning, and Spirituality in Gemini. So someone here's could be, that's interesting, because that would be, Geminis are typically, they use their voice, they're very expressive. So when it comes to learning and spirituality, it could be someone who utilizes song, could be someone who does a lot of manifestation work utilizing their voice, things of that nature. That would make sense with the Ren Fair vibes I got earlier. Let's get into the runes on what someone, oh goodness, what the collective needs to hear today. What else? We have, what is this? This is Ansus for a message, and Hagalaz for disruption. A disruptive message? Okay, that's interesting and ominous. I don't like that. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in today. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Let me know if the music's too loud. It should be fine, but I always feel, I don't know how it sounds for you guys, so I just need to know. Get into some charms. Hello, hi. Get into some charms and see what else we've got here. Oh, quite a lot, actually. We have the dog charm, so someone here could have lost a pet recently. If you have, my condolences. I know how you feel. We have the pentacle here for money as well, material realm. The crystal ball charm, so that's kind of like intuition. Angels for ancestors and spiritual guides also popping in here. So again, heavy on the deceased loved ones, deceased pets, popping in to give this message. We have music as well. So again, the 9th house with Gemini, someone who definitely in realms of philosophy, higher learning, is someone who could be a music teacher, someone who does a lot of debate. They manifest through song, those types of things. So very interesting message that we have here thus far. Let's dig into the tarot and see what you need to hear on this beautiful Tuesday. I am looking at my tarot cards and seeing who wants to talk today, and I'm getting the Mythos Tarot. Who wants to speak today? So let's pull her out. How are you all doing today? I hope you're doing well, and if you are not, I hope it gets better from here. Thank you for your time, your attention, your likes, your shares. Thanks for being here. So, what is going on with my collective today? It's funny that we had tech issues right at the start because Mercury just left retrograde on the 29th. So it's just funny that that would happen. So close. And Saturn also left. So the lesson after lesson after lesson in the realm of communications finally left the building. But that's just very interesting. So what is going on with my collective today? The Emperor. So it feels like stepping into our powers coming in here. That's really nice to see. Stepping into our power. What else is going on with my collective today? Maybe we had a really productive day today and we're kind of feeling it. That could be nice. Especially when you're under the weather. Oh, or upgrades. Yes. What is going on with the collective for today, Spirit? Music, material realms, intuition. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. We have the Ace of Swords here with chaos, right? Thank you. Hello, everyone who just came in. This is a collective reading, not a personal read, okay? If you want a personal read, I offer that at the link in my bio. Please feel free to check that out, okay? I'm more than happy to answer your questions there. So we're having, and the Six of Cups too, with Mnemosyne, right? The truth regarding something in the past, stepping into our power over past memories. Tell me more. Because we have the hawk and the owl that I got earlier as animals. And the hawk is like the hawk's eye, bird's eye view. They have extremely good vision and they can see things. The owls are considered totems of, being wise. And they're also silent hunters. So perhaps there's something you've glimpsed that's kind of... We have the High Priestess as well with Persephone. Ah, there you go. A good thing to notate for affirmations is not to use negative words in your affirmations. So if you want to get stronger vibes from that, you can go with, let's see. You have, I will not return to where I once was, which is beautiful. I am always progressing forward would be a beautiful way to take that and add extra oomph into it, So we have here the High Priestess, which is all about duality and following our intuition. And we got the intuitive charm here as well. With the Six of Cups, which is often a nostalgic feeling. It talks about looking at the past, looking at past memories. Thank you so much. Ace of Swords talks about truth, which can be very chaotic and disruptive. And the Emperor. Tell me more. What is this? Because it's either that we're stepping into some truth regarding old memories that are putting us more into our power, that are helping us upgrade, is what that is kind of giving, especially in the realm of philosophy and higher learning. If you're wondering what I'm looking at, I have little notes for myself on the different houses so that I remember. Sometimes I'll look at them to remember things. Page of Cups. So yeah, returning to innocence and completion of a cycle. A return to innocence. So it's kind of like looking back at your past and conquering the parts of you that maybe felt silenced, and it's coming back up. Oh, are you doing inner child work? That's beautiful. Yeah, earlier I was listening to the entirety of the Dragon Age soundtrack, like from the very first all the way to the most recent, and I was definitely getting like Ren Fair vibes, dancing notion. And for those of you who don't know, dancing is a form of somatic therapy. It's really good for when you're having really heavy emotions, and getting it out of your body. So that definitely takes me back, because Dragon Age came out when I was younger. So it put me back in that state of mind of really beautiful gameplay, storytelling, and fun stuff like that. Oh, there you go. And we have the 5 of coins here with Pena, the goddess of suffering, basically, right? So like it's a completion of a cycle of constantly feeling victimized. So we're stepping away from feeling like this, and we're getting into this notion. Completely different energy here. Interesting. Okay, tell me more. Getting back into childhood games is a beautiful, beautiful way to do some inner child healing, right? So if there are games, like if you're a gamer and you had games you used to play, go play those again and kind of get yourself that blast from the past. That's very healing. Thank you so much. No, I am not. What else is going on with my collective? I'm glad to hear that, R. No, that's beautiful. Yeah, when I was listening to the Dragon Age soundtrack, I was feeling very nostalgic and all that stuff. So definitely a good practice to do is get back into those old school games and kind of revisit them as adults. What else is going on with my collective today? But we had this. Oh, interesting. Justice. Yeah, that's your justice. A balancing. So yeah, there may have been a big wound regarding childhood that you've been working on, you've been healing, and that's actually, you're succeeding at this. Yes, it's something you're doing for yourself, something you're bringing to yourself. Now I want to know what this message, this disruptive message is. Inner child doesn't always mean pregnancy. It usually means like the part of you that is from your childhood. It's typically really deep wounds within. But I understand where you're going with that. Because again, we had that Ace of Swords here with disruptive truth. It's very chaotic. So that could also be happening in the background here. So we have this, the Knight of Cups. Or sorry, the King of Cups. Interesting. The King of Cups sideways. When I see cards like this, when I see cards sideways in tarot, right, it often tells me it can go either or. So that tells me this is the current energy, right? The King of Cups is someone who is very much, when they're in the typical position, the upright position, it means someone who is very much emotionally intelligent. They're very above, like, they're not above their emotions, like they can't have emotions, but they know how to work with their emotions. If it's in the reverse, that would be like drowning in your emotions. This is someone who feels their emotions, but still maintains a level head. You know what I mean? So I see this here, right? So this inner work could be bringing up some heavy feelings, some heavy emotions. Yeah. And that's kind of where we're at. It's like trying to find that balance of, yes, I'm feeling my emotions. I don't want to drown in my emotions. I want to be able to feel them and still progress forward, right? Because if you look at this, he's looking forward and all that blue. So it's like healing that expression, healing that thought process, and trying to look forward. I see the doves here too. So it's like trying to find that inner peace, right? So there's that sideways. Interesting. Tell me more. Oh, I just noticed the video I have on. One, she just said, tell me the truth. And two, it's entirely blue. So yeah, that feeling under the weather, having some heavier emotions, and a lot of expression, because blue is often tied with the throat chakra, with expression. So let's see. We have the devil here with Hades, but he's in the reversed, which talks about leaving behind the way that we self-sabotage, right? The devil is often vices, addictions, self-sabotage, things like that. Yeah, it talks about like codependency. Like I'm trying to formulate the words. The devil talks about like the things that scare you. They're the things that make you anxious. They're the things you hold on to that keep you in that repeating cycle of self-sabotage. So for instance, it would be the relationships that you know are bad for you, but you keep coming back to because you feel like you deserve them. It could be the job you don't like because there's a yeah, it's like those types of things, right? It's the things in your life that kind of you perpetuate constantly. It's the doubts and all of those things, that inner bully, things like that, keeping you in a state of holding on to things that continue to hurt you. When I see it in the reverse, though, that means we're leaving it behind. We're getting out of that cycle. So that's kind of what we're doing, right? We're working on this because maybe when we're in our emotions, we tend to actively stay in this when you're down in the dumps, feeling all of your emotions and all of that type of stuff, that can trigger you into self-sabotage and staying with people you shouldn't and things like that. That kind of energy, right? But it looks like we're trying to leave that because when we're more level-headed, we're more able to see when things aren't actually good for us, and we're not necessarily holding on to them because they constantly perpetuate a abandonment wound, a painful wound from our childhood and things of that nature. So there could be people around you making up some crazy stuff. Yeah, disruptive message. That's what I got. Disruptive message. So there may be people around you trying to tell tales and kind of keep things hidden and keep things confusing around this, whatever you're doing, like this healing work. Yeah, there could be people around you who are trying to tell you one version of how stuff happened, but you remember it different. We have the Nine of Pentacles here as well. And the Nine of Pentacles is all about like, it typically in traditional tarot, right? The Nine of Pentacles is the mini Empress. Now, obviously, this is a male deity in this deck, but he's the god of abundance, really. But like, they are surrounded by all of their wealth. They're good. They've got the nice, like, they're comfortable. They're surrounded by their cornucopia. They have their abundance. They can eat just fine. They have the money. They have the resources they need, and they're just stable. They're good. So that definitely means that when we're in our not so good emotions, right, when we're kind of drowning in it, we tend to sabotage ourselves and put ourselves, this would be impulsive spending. Impulsive spending, maybe not necessarily going after jobs that we want or not being as productive in the workplace as we want, just kind of messing with our foundations, our stability. But when we're level-headed, right, we don't really necessarily have to worry about the self-sabotaging behaviors, and that actually puts us towards our goals. I'm right there with you, okay? This is also it's calling me out too. Oh boy. So yeah, we may be more prone to getting comfort food, like, you know, it's so easy to, after you're finished grocery shopping, to grab food on the way home or buy something in order to, yeah, retail therapy, those types of things. You right? Yeah. What else is happening here, Spirit? But it's like we are working on that. We are working on it. Knight of Cups with Morpheus. I love to see Morpheus. Thank you so much for the donut. Thank you. Morpheus, right? The Knight of Cups. I said the Knight of Cups earlier, right? This is a collective reading. If you want a personal reading, I offer those at the link in my bio. Feel free to check it out. The Knight of Cups. He is all about chasing your dreams. Your dreams want you, right? He looks forward with his eyes shut because he has intuition, he has faith, right, in his path. Whereas in the dream world, he is very active. He's often manifesting. He's thinking about those things. And with the butterflies here, he's transforming in his dream state. So you may actually be actively, oh, the death card was hidden here. And the death card's all about transformation with that butterfly, right? So in the dream state, you may also be practicing a bit of, you may be having some dreams right now that are actively healing that specific wound. Some of you here may also be someone who knows how to lucid dream or actively manifest in your dreams. I would say now would be a great time to pay attention to dreams, because there will be messages in there. Yes, interesting. But that is kind of fueling that divine masculine side, that productive go-getter, ambitious side, stepping into your inner power. I see the Three of Pentacles here in the reversed with the Moirai, which is all about the fates. With the fates. Can you clarify this, Spirit? Can you clarify the Three of Pentacles here? Is this talking, are you talking about, hold on, let me see how they clarify this, because it could be the Hierophant. Okay. I love to see this. The Hierophant. There you go. The Hierophant with Dionysus. Typically in traditional tarot, the Hierophant is all about religion, traditions, authority figures, marriages, contracts, those types of things. It talks all about traditions and authority, right? Now, in this deck specifically, when it's upright like this, it takes on the traditional tarot's reversed meaning of the Hierophant, right? Thank you. When you see this lovely man here, he's telling you to not work with tradition. He is the rebellion card, right? So it's kind of like going against convention. I love to see him here because he's basically a giant middle finger to following the status quo, right? Yeah, because even though he's like supposed to be this deity of revelry, of being the party god and things like that, he's still a god. He's still a deity. He's still powerful. He's still manifest. He's still worshipped, right? So even though he is all the things that people don't like in society, right? He still is successful. So that's kind of what we're getting here, is like going against some sort of convention. Like there's something that you probably religiously stick to that has been a self-sabotaging factor in your life, and we're currently trying to leave that behind. But whenever you're in your feelings, you tend to stick to that. That's kind of like the comfort thing we do, even if we're not quite aware we're doing it. Thank you. Yeah, the sun. Yeah, because we're trying to find our happiness, and our happiness is in the rebellion. That's funny. Our happiness is in the rebellion of not working with those types of energies that keep us in this self-sabotaging cycle. Okay. Okay, so we have our what here. How interesting. And it's in the 9th house. So it's philosophy, higher learning, and spirituality. That's what it governs. And in Gemini too. So that's definitely like debating, speaking. That's so interesting. But on the flip side, that can involve a lot of rumors, because Geminis in their unhealed energy can be very two-faced, right? Purple wants to talk as well. Let's get into the why you even need to know this. Why do you need to know this at this time? I mean, it seems pretty obvious here, right? That we're trying to step into our power. We're looking at old wounds from our childhood, maybe getting into some nostalgic practices that feel good to us in order to pull us out of that cycle. But we're currently working on mastering how to feel our emotions without it ruining our entire week and causing us to do impulsive spending, like overeating, self-sabotage behaviors. We're trying to like figure out how to not drown in our emotions and let it kind of cause chaos in our life. Trying to find some transformation there. Interesting. Yeah, some of you may like a cup of wine here and there, but when we're in our feels, it may be 3 cups of wine. Fair. Let's see. Why do you need to hear this at this time? That lovely smoke. That smoke comes in because you're working on cleansing that negativity out. Why do they need to hear this at this time, Spirit? Oh, well, because our home life is rather unstable at the moment. That would make sense. Yeah, things are a little unstable at the moment. Hi, hello. Why else do they need to hear this at this time? So yeah, it's like even though we're doing this work and it is going very well, things are still a little shaky and rocky as we go forward. And that makes sense because we're still in our Jupiter retrograde and Chiron retrograde as well as a Neptune retrograde, right? And those 3 planets, well, those 2 planets and 1 asteroid, right? Neptune in the retrograde, especially in Aries, can cause a lot of confusion and murkiness around starting new things and motivation, right? Jupiter in the retrograde in Cancer means that you may have heavy emotions and wounds around money that come from your family. And that's just kind of, you know, your luck, your abundance, everything that Jupiter rules. Pluto is a planet, absolutely. Everything that Jupiter rules is currently tied to how you were raised and the core belief systems that were taught to you around those things. So that would be the 9th house, right? Philosophy, higher learning. Also, it can deal with money, luck, those types of things. And yeah, heavy emotions around those things. So definitely a time of not really like feeling like luck is always against you, never quite have your money right. But not being sure how to even go about fixing it, right? And then Chiron being in reversed in Aries as well. Chiron is the asteroid that embodies the immortal wounded healer. So it's the wound that you have had your whole life and will probably carry with you throughout your whole life, specifically around starting new things. So this could also be a procrastination loop. Hi, Taylor. So that makes sense. We have this shaky foundation. Another card came in sideways here, and it's the Star. We're trying to heal it. Hello. Trying to heal it. We're actively working on healing this rocky foundation we have around these types of things. That's why, because you're trying to heal it. And maybe you feel like, yeah, we have this Knight of Cups in the reverse. Yeah, we're trying to heal it. And we may be feeling inner child work and shadow work is a difficult. That's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. Inner child work and shadow work is hard. It is a rough journey. It is very difficult to open a deep part of yourself and look at the really, like, it's hard to look at that kind of stuff. They're deep wounds you carried your whole life. They don't want to be seen, right? Well, you don't want to see them, but they want to be seen. And taking a look at it kind of makes you look at really deep parts of yourself that hurt, right? And in the Knight of Cups, it's not a romantic process. It's not pretty. It's not aesthetic. It is messy, raw, a really rough time. You learn a lot of truth you didn't really want to learn. And the truth can be very chaotic and disruptive, right? It can be chaotic and disruptive. It can really put you in your feelings. And a lot of times once you go through inner child healing, you end up in your inner teen, which is that rebellious, angry side, because now you're angry because why did I have to go through this? Why have I lived my whole life this way? You know, it's a whole moment. You graduate, you go from the inner child to the inner teen who's now angry and wants to rebel against every single thing. They usually are the one that drive you to go into the exact opposite energy, overly extreme, right? So say you're like, I've been poor my whole life and I have this really bad relationship with money. Well, I've done all the healing work around my inner child wounds around money, right? And now my teen comes up, and that prompts me to spend my money as soon as I get it, right? And chase after money with reckless abandon. That's usually how that happens. Like being angry that, being angry at not having money, being angry at the system for money, being angry at everything. And it's usually very disruptive and destructive. But that's part of the process. So we're trying to work on that healing of our shaky foundation, and it's got us feeling some type of way, very moody. Very moody. We found out a truth we're not happy with. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then like grappling with those feelings. Mm-hmm. So why else do they need to hear this at this time? So yeah, we may be feeling a bit like disheartened, lack of progress. The Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, we're trying to be the Queen of Pentacles, and there's that Chariot in the reverse. But we feel like we're not achieving it. We feel like we're driving around in circles. Okay. Yeah, that Nine of Cups in the sideways. Yeah, not feeling content. It's like, okay, I'm doing the healing, but it's not here. But it's not here yet. I don't like this process. Fair. Absolutely fair. Not a fun process. I don't like this process. I don't like the truth that's coming out. I'm in my feelings about it. When am I going to get my Queen of Pentacles, right? I feel like I'm going around in circles. But it's like trying to maintain that optimism, trying to, like, when you get in those negative spirals, trying to come out of the negative spirals and get back into the positive manifestation energy. Yeah, trying to not let it keep you down and put you back into the self-sabotaging patterns. First of all, great job, and I'm proud of you. This is not an easy process, and the fact that you're even doing it is a beautiful thing. Absolutely, Sonia, that's right. It's okay to not be okay. Why else do they need to hear this at this time, Spirit? Listen to music at this time. It will be very helpful, right? Because I got that music. It'll be very helpful for you. You'll get messages from your guides and ancestors. Whoever you believe in, your faith is yours, but you will get messages from your source of faith through lyrics. Thank you. Another sideways card for the Page of Pentacles. Yeah. And that Two of Wands for plans. Yeah, it's like, I don't know if I'm content with this process. I feel like I'm doing, like, I can't seem to get this little pentacle. I can't seem to get ahead. I can't seem to go forward and start my little venture, right? That procrastination loop. Yeah. Yeah, I can't quite grasp it. Not yet. Why else do I need to hear this at this time? But I see 222, so I know you're in alignment. Yeah, I can't grasp what I want. I can't move forward with my plans, and I can't celebrate. And the Empress here, that creative energy. Yeah, I haven't gotten to my Empress energy yet. So you're probably part of the collective that has tasted being in your Empress energy. But it's eluding you at this time because you're doing the internal work in order to unlock this, right? Because in the reverse, that's very much, the Empress in the reverse is very much procrastination. CCC? No, can you explain? The Empress in the reverse is often procrastination, not being very creative, not being able to feel stable. They're very much in their Venusian energy, Taurus, Libra, right? They are surrounded by abundance. They're surrounded by luxury, and are able to create in their garden. So we're trying to get in the upright, which is very much abundant, creative. It shows pregnant in the card. It doesn't like that. That does not, if that's for you, that's for you. But generally speaking, right, especially when it's not specifically talking about pregnancy, right? It also talks about being pregnant with creative ideas, right? So having a lot of creativity and all of those types of things. So that's kind of where we're at. It's like, I'm doing this work, but it feels like it's not working. I'm not in my Queen of Pentacles, right? The Queen of Pentacles and the Empress, right? The Queen of Pentacles is in her garden, right? She's very much needed to be the Empress, right? Because the Empress is the embodiment of all of the queens of the tarot. So we don't feel like we have gotten into our stable energy yet. And it's making us feel a type of way because we can't do our plans and celebrate our new ventures because we're still in that procrastination loop. Yeah, so this is definitely a collective that has an issue with procrastination. It's okay. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you guys. Anything else on why they need to hear this at this time? Yeah, disruptive message. Yeah, it is. It's like procrastination is just that it's both a fear of failure and a fear of success happening at the same time. You follow me? Because on the one hand, you have this beautiful idea and you want to make it, but once you make it, maybe it will cause a lot of extra responsibility on your plate, and that's a little scary. And on the other hand, you're like, oh my gosh, if I get it out there and it doesn't do well, then, it was a waste of my time. Yeah. There may be some perfectionism wounds here that we're working through as well, because that often stems from perfectionism, feeling like you have to have everything perfect. You can't ever be messy. You can't ever just kind of flail your way through it. You have to automatically be the master before you even start. Yeah, gifted kid syndrome. I know this energy well. My condolences, my apologies. Yeah, it's like I'm worried I'm going to fail because I'm generally good at what I do and I don't like failing, even though failing is part of the process. And if I succeed, now everything I do has to match that caliber and quality, and that will lead me to burnout. How do you get over it? Well, let me tell you. You do it anyway. I know. I felt the cringe. I know that you're like, someone just told me to F off. Basically, you do it anyway. You start out and you put out the really cringy video. You have to learn. Yeah, you have to learn how to get comfortable with not knowing what you're doing at first and learning along the way, right? You have to get comfortable with being a little messy. It's not easy. I know. I've been through this very process here on this channel of wanting to be absolutely perfect at it, and spirit telling me that was dumb and I shouldn't do that. We have the Lovers here, right? So balancing out that divine feminine and that divine masculine. People see this and they always think of relationships, and that's perfectly fine. But we're in the house of philosophy, higher learning, and spirituality. So this card is the complete opposite energy of the devil. The devil and the Lovers are two sides of the same coin, right? This is collective, yes. When you are in devil energy, right, it is a unhealed masculine and feminine energy, right? It is the divine feminine not looking to her intuition to receive guidance. She is not in her creative energy. She is very much in procrastination land, right? She's not able to create because she's not looking towards source to help guide her. The masculine, when he's unhealed, he's not looking at the feminine. He's not looking at the feminine side at all. He's go, go, go. And oftentimes when you're go, 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 you burn out. It's a very destructive energy, right? Yeah, the divine masculine is the one who is tied to the 3D realm, the material. They're all of our ambition, our go-getter energy. They're the reason that we go out and we do the damn thing, right? The feminine is the one who comes up with all of the ideas, and the balancing of the two, combined with the intuition, right? Our soul, our source, is why we have what we have. It's why fire can be both disruptive and it can be warm, right? Because it's a balancing act. It has to be balanced. That's what we're working on. We're like, I'm trying to make it happen. I feel like I'm going in circles. I feel like I'm constantly going back into my self-sabotaging practices, and I feel like I just can't quite get there. What am I missing? What am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. This is part of the journey. In order to find the balance, you must go back and forth between the extremes until you eventually find what feels best. If you're constantly worried about being perfect, right, you're going to fall into the extremes every time, because perfectionism is driven by the divine masculine part, by the ambitious side of being like, I need to go, go, go until I crash and burn. And that puts me in my feelings. And then I eat 5 pints of ice cream, spend $400 at Target, and be sad for 3 to 5 business weeks, right? I'm just saying, no judgment. I'm there. I am talking to about myself, right? You know, we get in our feelings and then we disrupt the entire plan. We don't do anything for a while, and we end up in the shame loop, which pushes us to go back into the burn, like go until we burn, right? It's a balance. That's why you should go with progress over perfection, because perfection is not real. It does not exist. If you go with progress over perfection, then you're not really comparing anything. Hey, hi. You're not comparing yourself with a perfect standard. You're going with, have I done better than I did yesterday, right? Even if it's by a single toe forward, right? And that is much more peaceful of a path to walk. Because, oh man, maybe I'm not, I'm trying to think here. Maybe my finances aren't perfect. Maybe I don't have a year's worth of finances saved up, right? But I have $10 saved up, which is more than I had yesterday. So, you know, I just have to make sure that $10 stays there, right? Yeah, this restless, antsy energy. We're restless. We want it to be fixed already. We want it to be fixed already. We're like, I don't want to continue this process because it's not fun. It sucks. It puts me in my feelings, and I keep bouncing back and forth. And it's got me restless of like, it's focusing too hard on the end goal, the end result. When the point of the matter is, in order to be balanced, you have to go back and forth in order to find the balance. There's no path you can walk where you start out heavily on this side and then you're suddenly perfectly balanced. You're going to accidentally go a little too far this way, and then you're going to have to go back this way, and it's going to eventually balance out, because you'll go, oops, I went a little too hard over here, right? I went a little too hard. I burnt out. So that means I need to incorporate more rest. Okay, well, I accidentally rested too much. Thank you. Yeah. I rested too much. I didn't get anything done. So I need to find my balance. It's very much a learn along the way. Again, this is a collective reading, not a personal reading. If you would like a personal reading, I offer that at the link in my bio. Feel free to check it out. Feel free to check that out. I'm happy to answer your questions over there. But stick around, because this might resonate with you. We have the 6 of Wands. Yeah, we want our victory. We want our flowers. Right? We want the journey to be over with and have the parade. That's okay. We've all been there, especially if you're a perfectionist type, right? You go, oh my God, I can't believe that I keep going backwards. I keep going backwards, and I'm not just done with the journey already. I haven't excelled and passed and gotten the perfect score on it, right? I'm talking to myself too, right? Because that's definitely something I've struggled with. Is again, that gifted kid syndrome, where you're like used to having good grades, you're used to being really good at things, and then when you're not, it drives you nuts. I totally understand. So it's like, how am I not? I'm usually really good at the things that I do. I'm really good with my money most of the time. I'm really good in school. I'm really good at work. But this one thing is my problem, and I can't seem to find that balance, right? It drives you nuts if you want to be done. If you're not used to being good at everything, right? there's not really a person out here who fails at literally everything. If anybody makes you feel that way, those are family wounds. We have this in sideways comparison. The Page of Wands is all about comparison. In the upright, it is very inspired, right? They are very inspired. It's like when you hear people give you, like you hear TED Talks or you see someone on YouTube or TikTok, here on TikTok, and you're like, I really like their lifestyle. And I want to know how I can get to that point in my life, right? So I'm going to listen to their advice. I'm going to see what they're doing and I'm going to try to put it into my life, right? Beautiful thing to do. It's absolutely gorgeous to be inspired by people, because we're inspired by people because we have that same potential within ourselves. The traits you admire are already inherently within you, right? You just haven't figured out how to unlock them yet, right? In the reversed, that's when we get too much into comparison. That's when we start going, well, I'm not that way, so there must be something inherently wrong with me, right? No. The person you see that you aspire to had to also learn how to do that, right? They also had to learn how to get there. They had to take the steps along the way to get there. People who have people who built, people who have an emergency fund built the emergency fund. A lot of people out there who are older, who have great emergency funds and who had savings, are the same people who probably had to file bankruptcy at one point and had to learn the hard way, trial by fire, right? But you don't see that. You see the end result. So you're trying to be the end result before you've even started your journey, you know? Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. That's where we're healing. We're healing this feeling of, I want to heal. I want to be at my 9 of Cups. I want to be content. I want to start on this new venture. I want to go after what inspires me. But I haven't quite found my balance yet, and that's making me feel like I'm failing my journey. It makes me feel like I'm not going to get there. It makes me feel like for some reason, I am unable to obtain this. And the Queen of Swords is here to tell you to knock that shit off. Yeah, because you're actively putting that work in and you are being successful. Because we had the World here, which is a cycle completion. You are actively being successful in this manner. You are doing what you're trying to do. Right now is just the balancing part, right? And that's totally fine. That's totally fine. Just because you don't have it perfectly balanced as fast as you want doesn't mean that you're not making progress, that you're not doing a good job, okay? Yeah, the universe doesn't grade you. They don't compare your notes to the next person. They don't tell you, oh, you got a 95 out of 100. They don't do that. That's not how life works. That's how society works, but that's not how actual living works, right? So we have our what and we have our why. I've told you all of this. Let's get into what you even need to do about it, because I can tell you what and I can tell you why, but what do you need to do about it? So Marigold wants to talk here. Let's see what we can get. What do they have to say, Marigold? My beautiful shadow work deck. Yeah, they were going to get a little bit deep here. So if you don't like shadow work, you should probably go. Because we're already doing inner work, so I don't think anyone here is afraid of it. This one will tell you what you need to hear. Okay? You want to know how to get over this cycle of procrastination and feeling like you have to already be at the end of the journey before you've even put one toe outside your front door. Well, this is the deck. I'm going to tell you. So, Spirit, what do they need to do about it? We have our what, we have our why. What do they even need to do about it? Thank you. The 6 of Wands. Well, for starters, recognize your progress. You want the parade, throw your parade. Recognize the hard work you've done so far and celebrate where you've gotten so far. Because chances are Where you're at is not where you were when you started. Even if you started yesterday. Even if you started yesterday, you made progress. What else do they need to do at this time, Spirit? Because again, that quote, progress over perfection. There's no reason to go after perfection. Progress should always be what you're looking at. Because yeah, if you're focused on it being perfect, you miss all the work you did and you don't celebrate yourself along the way, which immediately impacts your motivation to continue going forward, you know? What else do they need to do at this time? Disruptive message. The disruptive message, I keep wondering what that was about. I wonder if somebody got some form of, like, someone told you something that it kind of spurred this on. It's like they haven't touched on it at all, other than that you're, like, doing inner work. The only other indication I have here is that there's an Ace of Swords, so, like, some form of truth came up. But what do they need to do about it? Oh, my Lord. Yeah, Queen of Swords. Yeah, it's time to get real. It's time to get real with yourself, right? Oh, boy. Yeah, it's time for you. Look, you see how the Queen of Swords has her sword at the ready? The Queen of Swords. Interesting. The Queen of Swords. Swords in tarot represents thoughts and words, right? Our thoughts and our words. She's telling you, right? The Queen of Swords talks about cutting things off. They're very fair. They're very honest. They're the ones who call you on your BS, right? They're the ones who call you on your BS. The Five of Pentacles, right? The Five of Pentacles is all about feeling ostracized, feeling down in the dumps, feeling like the universe is out to get you, right? And the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords talks about being in a mental prison. Every time you self-sabotage, you return to these behaviors. And the Queen of Swords is here to tell you that you need to be the one that calls you out on your own stuff, right? That's what she's saying. You need to cut that out of the equation. That doesn't mean that you can never, ever feel those things, right? But you need to celebrate yourself, right? You need to celebrate yourself in order to cut this off, because this is spurred entirely by comparison. Every time you try to be perfect, every time you try to be this thing over here, right? I want to be successful. Well, I hate to break it to you, my friend, but being successful isn't just the end goal. Being successful, you are successful every single time you catch yourself doing these things and you stop. It's every single time you catch yourself and you go, oh, I'm spiraling. I need to ground. I need to center. I need to pull myself out of my emotions and back into clarity. Not repressing your emotions. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about I overspent today. And then you spend the next 4 hours thinking about all the reasons that you're a failure, how you'll always be broke, how your money will never be right, and all that stuff, right? But then you go, oh, I'm doing it again. I am currently berating myself in my own head. Yes, I'm berating myself in my own head. How do I fix it, right? How do I stop doing that, right? And you go, okay, well, let me pretend that the voice in my head saying these things is my best friend. What would I say to my best friend if they were saying those things about themselves? You'd tell them to knock it off, right? And you would tell them all the reasons why they are not those things. Because obviously you're not a failure. I don't really care like what your wallet looks like. You're not a failure, right? That is a societal expectation. The fact that you're alive and you're breathing right now means you're not a failure. Because in order to fail at life, you have to not be alive. You know what I mean? That's a rather morbid way of putting it, but you get what I mean. Every time that you catch yourself berating yourself for not being perfect, you need to tell yourself progress over perfection. I am not perfect. Nothing is perfect. Therefore, I shouldn't expect perfection when the entire world is imperfect. That doesn't make sense, right? I'm not a failure because I overspent. I made a mistake. I can correct it. Because then you already know, if I stay in this mindset, I'm going to end up overspending again and go back into the shame loop, right? And that brings a little bit of clarity in. Okay, what can I do? What makes me feel good in this moment? What do I need? Okay, well, obviously I'm feeling guilty. Obviously I'm feeling shame. So what can I do to bring myself out of this emotion? What will ground me? What will center me? What will bring me back into my body, right? Whether that's dancing in your kitchen, whether that's listening to really good music, whether that's having a piece of chocolate, watching a comfort movie, scrolling through Christmas TikTok. If you're someone who loves Christmas and it brings you happiness, do something that brings you out of that negative thought pattern, right? You know what brings you happiness. You know what you look at and you forget the world's troubles. I'm not talking about escapism, right? But what you can do in that moment to bring you back in your body, right? Exercise is also good. Just whatever can bring you into feeling your own body sensations, because an overactive mind means an understimulated body. Yes. So that's usually how you would pull yourself out of that. Therapy is the best tool, obviously, but little practices like that, things that bring you out, holding ice. Yeah, eating usually makes people feel safe, but can lead to comfort eating. So you know what comforts you best, what grounds you into your body best. But just recognizing those things and then using your own logic as well to kind of talk you out of it. Oh, that's a good idea. If you catch yourself in those spiral patterns, it may take a while to get to this point, but you go, oh, I'm such a failure. You go, why? You go, because I overspent. Okay, why does that make you a failure? You go, okay, well, because it messes up my finances. Okay, but why does that specifically make you a failure? Like constantly asking yourself to explain the logic of what you're saying. Because you'll often realize that when we're in those self-sabotaging behaviors, we're practicing extreme thinking, right? Those types of things. So it's kind of being like, when we get into those moments, being ruthlessly, hitting ourselves with the truth, being ruthless with our logic, going from, oh, I failed everyone, I am a failure, I suck, and then coming in with logic and being like, explain to me exactly how that means that you are a failure. How does you overspending on fast food once turn your entire life into a fail, right? When you're only 25 and you still have possibly 50 plus years to go, how does one night of overspending make you suddenly unworthy of the rest of the 50 years of your life? You know what I mean? Again, that takes a while to get to being this ruthless with your own inner self. I would not recommend that as the first go, but if you can, like if you get to that point, go for it, because you'll call yourself out on your own BS real fast. And never shame yourself for feeling that way. You learned that practice growing up. This is not a roasting session of your own inner psyche. It's just kind of recognizing your own thought patterns and learning how to come out of them. But in order to come out of them, you have to first recognize them and meet them where they're at. So what else do they need to do at this time, Spirit? Because it's wild to just be like, yeah, just okay, but why does that make your whole life a failure? Knight of Cups. Yeah, and getting back into romanticizing your life more. Because remember how I said that we haven't quite gotten that victory over it yet, so it's got us feeling a type of way, feeling a bit moody. Getting back into that romanticizing, finding the things that bring you out of that constant negative spiral. Yes. I say it a lot, so I know that people need to hear it. Because this is what I did. This is how I've worked through some of these things. Not perfection, again, is not a thing. I do have moments where I get into this thought spiral. But I usually remember that your mind is a clear blue sky and every thought is a cloud. And the more you focus on a thought, the more it turns into a storm. And I can let them go at any time. They can just drift on by in the sky. But that's not going to work for everyone. So finding ways to romanticize your life, celebrate those little wins that you have so that you aren't always feeling like, I'm not here yet, therefore I'm failing my journey. So set up little celebrations along the way. I caught myself in a negative spiral. That's amazing. I should celebrate. I'm doing really good. Recognizing the progress. What else do they need to do at this time, Spirit? Oh my goodness. Another sideways. Yeah, the world. Explain? Can you clarify that? Because that's kind of vague. And the High Priestess in the reverse. Oh, okay. Yeah, you need to be listening to your intuition, right? To complete the cycle, you have to listen to your intuition. So maybe you're not quite sure what grounds you just yet. That's when you listen to your intuition. You kind of go with the first thing that comes to mind, right? What can I do? So when you're in one of those negative spiral moments and you catch it, and you go, oh, wow, I caught it. Okay, I need to bring myself out of this. What do I need right now in this moment? And the first thing that comes to mind is probably the thing you should go after. Unless it's self-harm, don't do that, okay? That's not your intuition. Your intuition would not ask you to be destructive with yourself. Yes. Follow your intuition, and that will help you with this cycle. Because the more that you resist your intuition and you try to over-intellectualize it, the more you try to follow someone else's journey and you go, okay, well, I need to do a specific breathing technique. I need to do XYZ, which doesn't really work, but you've heard it. Thank you so much. But you've heard it, so you're like, it needs to work on me, but it doesn't. It just doesn't work on you. That's fine. That doesn't mean you're broken, right? Follow the intuition. If what grounds you is eating a piece of chocolate, then eat the chocolate, okay? If it's playing Mario Kart, play some Mario Kart. If it's singing Mariah Carey off key, sing Mariah Carey off key. Yeah, and that Four of Pentacles. Yeah. Follow your intuition and that will get you out of that mindset. Because the Four of Pentacles is like scarcity. It's like holding on to something for dear life for fear of losing it. Yeah. Anything else that they need to do before I get into the advice? This is a collective reading, not a personal reading. If you would like a personal reading, I offer that at the link in my bio. Feel free to check it out and see if I vibe with you. I generally like to keep personal questions personal. I don't like putting it out there for everyone to see. Because that just feels, people don't need to know your business. We have the Hanged Man here as well. So yeah, that perspective shift. Again, progress over perfection. Right? That's what we need to be doing. Instead of feeling like we have to complete the journey before we've even started, or feeling like the journey has to look a certain way, progress over perfection. Get comfortable with being messy. Get comfortable with going back and forth. That is absolutely correct. Yes, they do. Yeah, it's okay to be messy on your own healing journey. That's the entire point. If you're working on your inner child wounds, if you're working through hard feelings, you're going to have a hard time. It's supposed to be difficult. You're literally rewiring your brain. You're rewiring what you've grown up learning. You're rewiring your reality. It's not an easy process. It's not cute. It's not anything that's going to be like, you can take pictures of it. You're gonna ugly cry. You're probably gonna lash out at someone. You're gonna go back and forth on old patterns. It's not an easy process. There will be many times where you want to just give up and not even try and go back to being ignorant. Unfortunately, you're aware now. You can't. You'll always catch it. You'll always know. Once you get there, if you choose to go back to that, you are actively choosing to repeat your cycles. Right? Instead of going forward. Like it becomes a way more painful existence. And this journey is also hard because you see it in others. You'll see it in the people around you and you'll want to help them, but you can't. You can't do that. You cannot help people unless, like, they have to choose to want help. Right? You can yell at them all day long about all the reasons why they're wrong, but would you respond to that? No. Yeah, like you can literally, when you get into this, you will literally see it in other people around you, and it will be tragic because you'll know how they can get out of it, but it's not for you to do. It's for them to choose because it's their karma. Just because just like you're here now listening to me, you decide. I can tell you because you're here. You're giving me your time and your attention, your energy. You're asking for an energy exchange. I'm giving you the information. You do what you want with it, okay? If you want to change, you will. If you don't, you'll scroll and keep on going. That's how it goes. It's the same thing in real life. I can see some people's raging insecurity issues that I had at one point, and I can go, oh my God, I want to help you. But if I do that, I'm interfering with their free will and I'm ruining their journey. They're not going to walk it because I put them on it, you know? They have to choose, just like you, just like I did. Anything else, Spirit? Like, I see all these flippers, but they're not coming out. The Empress, there she is. And that King of Cups from before. Yeah, if you want to be the Empress and the King of Cups above those emotions, that's what we need to do here, is change our perspective around this scarcity mindset, around this feeling like it's this feeling of, if I don't do it right, I won't do it, which doesn't make sense. You've started, therefore you'll do it. You know what I mean? You've started the healing work, therefore you're healing. You don't just suddenly not heal anymore. Sometimes you heal a little off, but that doesn't mean you didn't heal. It just means you healed a little off. But that's fine, right? But if we're healing for the sake of, if I don't heal, then I've somehow failed life, then you're not healing. You're just going to burn yourself out and cause more problems because you're trying to do all these things that don't actually heal the wound. They just put a Band-Aid over it. It'd be like putting a Band-Aid over a burn. You know what I mean? Yeah, that beginning. Yeah. Okay. So I'm being called to go into the advice on this. Before I do that, though, I want to do a quick recap. I like to post a little summarized video after the live for people who couldn't make it. So just bear with me for a second and we will get into those advice oracle cards to kind of give you something to digest on as you progress forward, something to think about. So This collective has been working on getting into their inner power. You have received some sort of truth recently that has caused a whole lot of disruption and chaos, right? It's definitely something of a nostalgic sort, could have been someone from the past, whatever it is, right? It has to do with the past. But this little truth that came in, whether you realized it or someone gave it to you, has been very disruptive. You have been currently trying to heal a wound within your childhood around feeling like the entire universe is specifically targeting you, right? And you've been trying to get back into that nostalgic, youthful spirit, following your intuition and trying to just break this cycle of never-ending suffering, this never-ending feeling like the world is out to get me. I will always be unlucky. I'll never have enough. I'll always be bullied and ostracized, right? And that you're doing that because you deserve it, quite frankly, with the justice here, because you've been through a lot and this is your justice. This truth came in order to help you do this. Now, right now, we're kind of going back and forth between being really, really upset over it, right? Understandably, whatever this wound was hurt a lot, and that's fine. But we're going back and forth between letting that emotion consume us and all of our decisions and being able to feel the emotions and move with a level head, right? When we're in our upside down emotions, when we're currently drowning in our emotions, we tend to fall back into old cycles of self-sabotaging behavior, such as overspending, overeating, bullying ourselves, those types of things, right? Clearly, we're trying to get into the Nine of Coins energy, the Nine of Pentacles, right? We're trying to build a stable life for ourselves. We're trying to get more grounded, more stable. And this has been directly impeding this process. Yeah, you could be doing some dream work at this time in order to do this, or there could be some messages in your dreams that will help you with this process, but you are actively doing this. You are actively making this transformation from drowning in your feelings and engaging in self-sabotaging behaviors to moving forward with a level head, right? And you're also not working with most traditions. So you're trying to do something different. Whatever your healing work is, it's something different. You're trying to chase after your happiness in a way that other people wouldn't expect. Maybe you wouldn't have even expected back in the day. It's definitely giving like you're being a bit rebellious right now. I like it. The reason you need to hear it at this time is because your foundation is still very shaky and it feels like you're not quite healing, at least to you, and you're in your feelings about it. Definitely feel moody because your foundation is still shaky. Even though you've been doing this work, you don't quite feel stable yet. You feel like you're going in circles, right? You don't feel happy about it and you don't feel like you can progress forward and make plans to celebrate all of this Empress energy, right? Being creative, bringing in that abundance and all of that stuff. You don't feel like you've balanced out yet. Yeah, it's made you very restless. You feel like you can't really, like, you're not there. Like, I want to be healed. I want to heal this wound. I've been working so hard on it. Why am I not there yet? Is it me? Is it my approach? Am I doing it wrong? Those types of feelings. That's kind of where we're at. We're going back and forth on the scales. It's like, okay, if I just go, oh, whoops, now I need to rest. Well, I over rested. So like we're in this in between of I can't quite figure out where my balance is and I feel a type of way about it. One moment we're inspired by other people, right? You could be trying to follow those it girl, it guy routines of, you know, society's like drink your green juice at 5 a.m. and go have a 5 a.m. workout and all this stuff, but you're not a morning person. So you're like, it's me, I'm the problem. You're not the problem, okay? It's the method. Yeah. That can lead you into some comparison as well, because you're like, I'm the problem. Clearly, I need to be following the schedule in order to be a correct person, in order to have my life successful, when that's not really the case. That's just one modality, right? And there's like an infinite number you could choose from, really, in order to get there. And yeah, you need to hear it because, like, the truth of the matter is that you're comparing yourself to someone who's been on a journey for a long time and has found out what works for them, and you're trying to make it happen right now without the journey part, right? And what works for them may not work for you. That doesn't mean that you aren't worthy of that same result. It just means that your process might look different, and that's totally fine. What you need to do about it? Spirit says you need to celebrate yourself more. Progress over perfection. If you're trying to be at the end goal, you're kind of ignoring all of the work that you do along the way, and not acknowledging the work you do along the way, how hard you've been working, directly impacts your motivation. If you don't recognize your achievements along the way, you feel like you're not doing anything, like we're feeling here, which makes you not want to continue because you're not seeing results. But if you were actively paying attention to what you're doing in this moment in time, you would notice the progress. Spirit's also being a little real with you here, and they're telling you to knock this off. They're telling you that the reason you feel this way is because you're not acknowledging your progress, and instead you're looking at the shiny end result, and you're saying, why can't I be that way? I'm never going to be that way. I'm always going to be down here. I'm never going to get my life together. It's all my fault. I'm worthless. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'll always have this life. It'll always be, being stuck in our mental prison, putting ourselves back in the mental cage. And Spirit says, knock it off. You need to recognize when you're going in that pattern, because that pattern specifically is what is hurting you, right? That specific pattern is why you feel this way, because you are not acknowledging your own efforts in your own healing journey, which is, no one ever talks about it. They never talk about how messy of a process it is, how hard it is to actually get it balanced, and how much work it actually takes. They just show you the end result. They show you all of the aesthetic things along the way. They go, oh yes, just one morning I decided that I needed to wake up at 4:30 a.m. I needed to have 2 green smoothies. I needed to do a Pilates class, meditate, hang out with a friend, do 20 minutes of deep work, and then take a break, and have this itinerary of a life that you're somehow expected to follow, even though you're not a morning person. You don't really like Pilates. You would rather do kickboxing, in the evening instead of first thing in the morning, and all that stuff. And for some reason, you feel like that means you're a failure when you're not. That's just what works for them. You have to find what works for you. And in order to find what works for you, you have to find it. You have to try things. You have to fail a little bit. You go, oh, okay, that was not for me. Let me try a different thing and move on from there. Okay? And that's the truth, right? You have to kind of be a little vicious with yourself with your own truth. You have to, you have to logic yourself. It's fine to be in our emotions. It's fine to be like, dang it, I'm not healed yet. And then come into your emotions and they start doing the I'm a failure. And you have to be like, why are you a failure? You're 25. You have possibly 50 or more years to go. Why are you suddenly a failure of your entire future possible life because you can't wake up at 4:30 in the morning and do an hour-long workout when there's 24 hours in a day? Why does that suddenly mean you're not allowed to be alive anymore? You know what I mean? When you start doing that within your own head, it kind of makes everything feel a little less intense, a lot less pressure, And they also want for you to romanticize things a bit more. Celebrate yourself, right? Celebrate your progress. Celebrate it. Make it more fun. You can have a to-do list that's fun. You don't even have to have a to-do list. I don't know you. I don't know how you work. I don't know your life. But make it funner. If you like video games, make the things you want to do into a video game. Make your to-do list into a video game. Give yourself rewards, right? If I'm able to go to the gym and do my workout that I really want to do, no matter what time of day it is, afterwards, I'm going to watch my favorite comfort show, right? I'm going to watch the newest episode of what I want to watch, or I'm going to spend an hour playing the new game that just came out. Something that brings you some joy and some happiness. I'm going to have a little bit of chocolate, right? I'm going to, whatever it is, whatever brings you happiness, make that a reward. Make it fun, make it exciting. We can do that. We're adults. We have free will. There's no correct way to do it. as long as it's not hurting anyone, you can make whatever you want the reward and make life fun. Make it a game. Enjoy it. Enjoy the living part, right? Yeah, if you want to complete this cycle, you're gonna have to stop ignoring your intuition, right? Whenever you're like, I notice that I'm back in this scarcity mindset. I notice that I'm back in this, I'm a failure because of XYZ. How do I get myself out of that? And the first thing you think of besides self-harm is probably the direction you should go in, right? Listen to that. And stop treating your healing journey like you're going to miss the bus. You're not going to miss the bus. You're on the bus already. You're going to arrive at the healed part. Okay? The journey is a lifelong one. Okay? It's going to take some time, and you just got to sit down and enjoy the ride. Okay? Look out the windows, enjoy the scenery. You're still going forward, even if you stop a little bit, even if you got to take a detour, whatever the case may be, you're still moving forward the entire way. Okay? This perspective shift, progress over perfection. Okay? This is desperately needed. The perfectionism and the procrastination because of the fear of failure and the fear of success working at the same time is the problem here. Right? That's something we need to work on. We're procrastinating because we're afraid of starting, because if we fail, suddenly we aren't worthy of our healing journey. Suddenly we're bad, or whatever the case may be. Suddenly our worth goes down for some reason because we failed, even though failure is part of the journey. And then we also have the fear of success. If I do well, now everything I do has to be this quality or else I've failed. It's the never-ending loop, right? That's the perspective shift we need to change here, is that chasing perfection, which doesn't exist and should not be chased. Okay? If you want to be in your Empress energy and you want to be in your level-headed King of Cup energy, right? If you want to be surrounded by, you want to have that soft life where you're surrounded by your abundance, then you're going to have to get comfortable with things being messy. You're going to have to get comfortable with sitting around. You're going to have to get comfortable with starting things, even if you're not entirely sure how it's going to go. You have to get comfortable with trusting in the process and not drowning in your emotions when things hiccup, right? That's where you get that new beginning in. That's where you call it in. Because instead of trying to control the entire process, you actually make it a little bit more fun. Okay? So that's the recap. Let's get into the advice oracle to kind of give you a little bit more to digest as you progress forward. So I hope that is helpful for now. And let me get all that out of the way. I like these oracle cards because they have sentences on them, and they also have some animals for extra confirmation. If you want a personal reading, I offer that at the link in my bio. Please feel free to check it out. I'm happy to answer your questions there. I usually do collectives here on live just because I don't like putting people's personal business out for the entire world to see. But I can do collective because collective includes me, and, well, I can consent to you being in my business. And if it's collective, if it doesn't resonate, you just go, So let's get our collective advice, closing advice from my wonderful collective here today. If you want a collective, you're in the collective right now. So stick around. All right. Closing advice from my collective here today. Let's ease their anxieties and their fears a little bit. Give them some guidance on how they can proceed forward on their path at this time. Give them some closing advice. Spirits, if you would not mind. 311 is relevant to someone here. That leads up to 5 for positive changes. There's often new beginnings in the realm of communication. Interesting. Oh. Thank you, Spirit. Take time out. Yeah, maybe. So we have take time out here with the bear spirit, the number 9, which again, this is in the 9th house. So this tells me you may not be adequately resting, my friend. You may be someone who is more prone to burnout, so you may not be scheduling in proper rest, proper breaks, proper recharging. So that may be, yeah, you see all that blue and that green here? There may be a need to bring a bit more recharging activities into your life at this time, a bit more rest. Even if it's just like scheduling a 20-minute break into your normal work, right? Getting up, walking around a little bit, just having a moment. Someone here has too much sick leave accrued. You should probably take a little sick leave if you can. If someone here is saving on to it, you should use it. What other closing advice do I have for my collective here? Truth transcends illusion in the reverse with 22. Interesting. Yeah. With that green in the heart space. Again, you got that disruptive truth and it threw you for a loop here. And earlier I said that you have to kind of get real with yourself and bring some truth to yourself. So it's like not wanting to acknowledge the truth, right? Yeah. That chasing that perfection and that procrastination, falling into those habits. We feel like it's inherently because we're bad, but it's just a wound that needs to be addressed. There's some truth hidden there that we need to look at. Anything else, Spirit? I see these little underliers here trying to come out, but I don't listen to those. I often think of it as it's not quite ready to come out yet, or it's like when you block someone but they keep trying to message you. I only listen to it if it comes out. Any other advice for my collective here today, Spirit? Ooh, bring a gentle touch. Again, this could have been something that happened when you were 18, either 9 or 18. Interesting. So yeah, that inner teen wound and that inner child wound. So bring a gentle touch. So again, that perfectionistic quality, that burnout, bringing a bit more gentleness into your life, recognizing that you do need to take breaks, that you are prone to burnout. And in order to avoid burnout, you have to force yourself to rest. You may feel guilty taking time to just sit down. But we need to sit down. We need to sit down sometimes. We need to take a moment. We need to take a break. I see this. Yeah, we're not quite sure if Spirit has our back here. We're not quite sure. They're here. That's where we're at. Yeah, we're not quite sure. There are days where we feel like they have our back, and there are days where we feel like they really don't. No, they're here. They're here. They have that big view over your whole life. They're not limited to a physical vessel. They see everything. So you may feel like you're not healing, but Spirit sees you healing. Oh, wow. I'm so sorry for your loss. And then we have time to let go. So again, let go of that feeling that you have to have it all figured out, that you have to be perfect, that it has to look a certain way in order to be worthy of coming out. Any other advice, Spirit? Interesting. We have a lot of interesting colors that have come out because we have some sacral energy wounds, heart, throat, sacral. So creativity issues in the heart space, and issues with communication, expression. Yeah. We don't feel safe expressing our emotions. We don't feel safe expressing what we want. We don't feel safe giving ourselves what we need. Because we feel like we have to earn rest, which is silly. Rest is part of being. Yeah, this collective is my overworkers, perfectionist overworkers with some overspending habits. Interesting. Any other advice, Spirit? Before I release you into the wilds. Yeah, so like, I'll let you guys know. Yeah, I'll let you guys know. Grounding for me, right? When I said grounding, getting back to center, I'm a Pisces moon in the 3rd house, right? So when I have really heavy emotions, that means that in my unhealed energy, I can tend to go for escapism or overeating. But when I need to ground, the best thing I can do is have sweets, right? That's also what I do after readings. I have a little sweet because it puts me back in my own body, so I'm not all up here floating in the space, staying connected to you guys. So that's for someone. Someone out there may have Pisces moon in the 3rd house. That would be healing for you, baths and eating some sweets. Just one. I only know that because I'm one of those people that I go into rabbit holes and I have like a whole obsessive deep dive into something, and I found my astrological chart and learned all about it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. But yeah, like I know that. If you want to know your astrological chart, I recommend Cafe Astrology. Not Cafe Astrology. AstroSeek. AstroSeek. And you need to know your birth time and where you were born. And that will give you your whole chart. All of it. Don't be surprised if it's really freaky when you read it. Beautiful. So we have slow and steady wins the race. I already heard someone upset. The journey is a journey. If it was a race, it would be called a race. And set healthy boundaries with the number 3, that Empress, right? The Empress does not chase, she attracts. The Emperor chases. The Phoenix. Okay. The Empress attracts, right? She rests because she knows abundance will find her. It will. She's the Empress. It just will. The Empress always has abundance. The Emperor always gets abundance, right? That's how it goes. You have to rest. You need to rest. You need to know when to say no, right? Even when it comes to yourself. And slow and steady wins the race. So remember that your healing journey will take time. It will take time, and that's fine. That doesn't mean that it's not worth doing. It doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It's not a race. And nothing is wasted. What I say earlier when I said that we feel like I'm wasting my time. If I'm not seeing the results, if I'm not already healed within a month of working on myself, that means I've wasted the past month. No, you haven't. You've made a month's worth of progress. You've done a month's worth of growing. You just haven't been paying attention to how much work you've put in, and you're not celebrating yourself. Anything else, Spirit? Trust in divine detours. Yeah. Trust in divine detours. So even though, yeah, like I said, there are times where you feel like Spirit doesn't have your back. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Like, why am I not seeing the growth? Or why did something bad happen to me, right? Am I being punished because I'm not working hard enough? No. You're getting a nudge in the right direction. That path was going to lead you back into those self-sabotaging behaviors, so you're being put over here. Okay? trust in those divine detours, okay? And remember, progress over perfection. Pay attention to your own efforts and celebrate every step of the way. Even if it's one toe forward, that's still forward, okay? So that is what I have here for you today. Thank you so much for your time and your energy. Thank you for all your likes. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for being here and spending your Tuesday with me. Thank you for choosing me to be your reader for today. And if you want a personal reading, I offer that at the link in my bio. If you're watching from YouTube, when I post this over there, it will be in the description box below. Please feel free to check it out, see if I vibe with you. The numbers that are on my store currently represent just the tarot cards, right? Those readings also include oracle cards, dice, charms, runes, synchronicities, songs that I get, all of it, okay? That's everything. I just put the numbers up there to make it a bit simpler to know what you wanted, right? I will eventually be adding more to the shop. I'm just working on my schedule to figure out how I can do that. So feel free to check that out, see if I vibe with you. If I do not, and Celeste, I see you. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And I wish you all the love, luck, health, abundance, joy, and healing on your journey. Remember that life is an ever crooked path and you are never off of it. And if you have chosen to follow me and you do like my vibe, I can't wait to see you in the next one. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday.